If you clicked on this video, I'm guessing that you are looking for a new place to work, but your interview skills have become a little rusty. Or maybe you're an intermediate business analyst finally ready to take the next big step in your career. Either way, this video is just for you. Hello everybody, I'm Yuri Goman, an ex-hiring manager for business analyst position. In this series, I'm talking about the interview questions for the business analyst role. A senior business analyst is a mature professional who has spent at least 5 years, or for some industries at least 7 to 10 years, working on a variety of projects. Senior experts have a firm grasp of business analysis and are deeply skilled in applying it to complex projects. They are expected to have hands-on experience in every stage of project life cycles and must have leadership experience. In interviews, candidates for a senior role are evaluated on advanced analytical skills, strategic thinking, and their ability to lead initiatives from business analysis perspective. Seniors are trusted to operate independently and are often tasked with contributing to high-level decision-making and proactively supporting the organization's objectives. Before I jump into questions, I want to talk briefly about a couple of problems with senior interviews. It is important that you learn about them here because you won't find such information in open access elsewhere. When companies look for a senior BA, they often search for a specialist with specific skills for a project and domain and rarely look for a generalist, making their initial search very niche. At the same time, looking at 100 senior profiles from the same domain, if a hiring manager is lucky to find such an amount in their market, they will see that profiles are very different. If two different experts could share around 80% in common skills at the junior and middle levels, at the senior level the percentage drastically drops to 50% or even lower. That's because the more experienced you become, the more focused is your experience and its evolution, and of course it's usually not towards what the hiring manager expects from you for a specific position. This problem leads to the question: how do you pass an interview if 99% of the time you apply to a position that match only partially? There are a couple of things that you could do as a candidate. Highlight that your core competencies match and that you have flexibility. Make sure to showcase how good you are with the most essential items in the job description according to your understanding. Include case studies or project examples illustrating how successfully you applied required skills in various contexts, especially outside your primary specialization if that's possible. Also emphasize adaptability, quick learning, and past experiences where you successfully worked across different domains. Be proactive in addressing skill gaps. If the job description highlights specific technologies or domain knowledge you lack, proactively address how you would close this gap. Mention courses, certifications, or personal projects you're pursuing to align more closely with the needs of the job description. This demonstrates a commitment to adapting to the new role. Finally, clarify expectations early. It's wise to ask the hiring manager about the level of specificity needed for success in the role versus the value of transferable skills. While technical expertise in specific domain may not align perfectly, leadership, strategic problem solving, and communication skills are often valued a lot. Your question will help determine whether the company is genuinely seeking a domain expert or they are open for a broader skill set. You have probably encountered the problem of identifying your level throughout your career. How do you define that you are a senior but not a junior? Is that your pay grade, a title bestowed for a great work, or is it skills? And if yes, which set of skills make you senior if job postings have different specific or the same generic description? Bad news that the problem is real. There is no universal competency model that everybody could use to define their level and for companies to evaluate by that scale. Another fact is that companies don't care deeply about the professional part of truth. They care about finding a person who can solve their problem for reasonable compensation, whatever they assume by those two things. The same goes for many candidates who want to make more money and see skills as stepping stones only. I wouldn't say that the candidates and companies are right or wrong with such approaches. It's just how it works, and at the same time it creates a huge gap in understanding and matching you to the job. The good news is that you can still do a couple of tricks to assist yourself. During the interview, focus on demonstrating impact and be as specific as possible. Instead of relying solely on titles to convey experience, highlight projects and results that showcase your capabilities. Emphasize your problem-solving skills and how you've driven results, led many teams, or taken ownership at a critical task. You should also prepare and build portfolio for specific achievements and tangible impacts, and they are often more persuasive than the words. A piece of advice here: when you share your portfolio, make sure that you don't share anything sensitive from your previous jobs, as it makes your character questionable. For example, if you share personal information and other company secrets, what stops you from sharing the same about me? Second, ask the manager how the company defines seniority and what they expect from a senior in this role. This will give you insights into whether the role aligns with your skills and ambitions, or it may not be a proper senior role regarding responsibilities and skills. You may also prepare and include your version of what senior means in this role. Luckily, there are multiple frameworks you may learn about from organizations like IIBA, BCS, and IRAB, and others, and use that information to have a proper conversation during the interview. Now that we are done with the common problems and how to deal with them, let's dive into what hiring managers ask and expect from seniors during interviews. The first category is about your experience and qualifications. You should expect a lot of questions about your CV, what you did in previous companies, what tools you used, etc. Those questions could be simple clarifications or requests to share stories from experience, behavioral questions, and cases. In other words, expect everything. Questions are not too different from what managers ask in the middle level, but here you will get more profound and complex questions. Here is an example of one of those questions. Describe a time when you delivered a cost-reducing solution for your project or feature. How did you present it to your team and the senior management, and what was the outcome? This question assesses your ability to identify cost-saving opportunities and effectively communicate solutions to different audiences. It also evaluates the impact of your contributions. Depending on the industry or position you apply to, the question could be from a feature level to the whole organization level. Now, how to answer this question? Start by explaining the problem or opportunity you identified. Detail your analysis process and how you developed a solution. Highlight how you communicated to both technical and non-technical stakeholders, ensuring alignment with organization goals. Conclude with the results achieved, such as cost savings for efficiency improvements. In my previous role, I identified that the sales process which I was a part of struggled with documenting success cases for company portfolio. I conducted a thorough analysis of how this process operates and identified that team interviews usually happen 3 to 6 months after the project ends, with cases ready in 9 months in total. This caused inconsistencies such as people needing to be present for interviews, being motivated to help, etc. I presented senior management with a detailed cost-benefit analysis, which involved hiring a person to cover this process and dedicating part of team's time right after the big first release. This approach cut the time to prepare the case up to 2 months in total, allowing BDMs to have relevant cases quicker than usual. This change was considered to be one of a few that led to the 7% revenue growth that year. You may get another example as you wish, but at least make sure that the structure and depth of the answer is like in an example. In real interview, the manager will likely ask follow-up questions, so be ready for that as well. Also, be prepared to reflect on past experiences to demonstrate your abilities. The next category of questions is about your achievements as a business analyst. First, if you have any, there will be clarifications about those you mentioned in your CV. Second, you will be asked about your impact on that achievement, or was it a team effort. In a nutshell, this category is about your ability to deliver impactful results. It might sound like, oh man, these questions are about buzzwords and me being goal area oriented or something. Well, yes, but there is a difference between being a part of a team success, understanding what you did, and proactively looking for ways to make an impact. Here is an example of an achievement question and how to answer it. Can you walk me through a successful project where you were a business analyst and tell me which impact you made personally on a project? Sure, in my previous role, I was tasked with leading the implementation of new ERP system for a mid-sized manufacturing company. The goal was to enhance decision-making capabilities across departments because managers seems to be stalling with their decisions. The company was struggling with outdated systems with no reporting capabilities, which led to decisions based most on experience. As you see, making informed decisions and responding quickly to market changes was not possible. My role was to analyze current processes, identify requirements for the new system, and ensure successful implementation while minimizing disruptions. I conducted workshops with stakeholders from various departments to understand their needs and pain points, and developed a detailed documentation outlining stakeholder requirements. Based on that, I led the evaluation process for potential ERP vendors, focusing on reporting capabilities, user experience, and integration capabilities. After shortlisting and vetting candidates, I facilitated demos and gathered stakeholders' feedback to ensure alignment with business needs. As soon as everyone was happy, I was a bridge between the vendor and internal work group consisting of volunteers, managers, and IT department representatives to model transition requirements for ERP implementation. I also spent my effort planning and organizing the training activities and materials and conducted sessions to ensure a smooth transition and user adoption. All that effort led for creating efficient reporting capabilities in critical processes, improving decision making, and according to the evaluation, reduced operational costs by 5%. Before we discuss the red flags, the next and final category of unique questions for senior concerns business thinking and business knowledge. Hiring managers ask these questions to evaluate your ability to think strategically, understand the scope of your business knowledge, and demonstrate how you applied it. The goal is to ensure that you can operate beyond the project and see the big picture. Such questions are important when manager is looking for someone to work closely with business without the middleman in form of a product owner or product manager. Here's a couple of questions examples. How do you approach conducting a market analysis? Describe a time when your understanding of industry trends influence a project outcome. Can you discuss how your business knowledge helped solve a complex organizational problem? As you may see, the level of questions go far beyond standard elicitation techniques or modeling UMLs. This is where you have to show your knowledge of tools like balances, scorecard, business model canvas, benchmarking, market analysis, business capability, and maybe even financial analysis knowledge, along with strong understanding of KPIs. For the last bit of this video, I want to share 3 huge red flags that are very obvious and easily uncovered and block your way to be hired as a senior business analyst. Red flag number 1 is resistance to change and lack of adaptability. It means everything for a business analyst to embrace the mindset of always looking around, exploring and learning new tricks. Businesses face constant changes in technology and market trends, and BAs need to adjust quickly to keep projects aligned with current goals. So if a business analyst resists change, it can hold back the entire organization and lead to missing opportunities and inefficiencies. But sometimes people are just hostages of their own experiences, used to working with the same specific tools and being frustrated by trying new things. For some organizations, more conservative approaches might be fine in the long run, but even they may change. In my experience, seniors are rarely needed in some stalling activities, as keeping expenses of experts is inefficient unless there's some specific case. But you will never know if the interview is for such kind of person. Moreover, seeing red flags from company side, like that decisions take long time or the same team works on a single project for 10 years, you won't be ready to jump in. This leaves you with a rule of thumb that most projects you apply for are rapidly changing and you will be expected to adapt to them. The second red flag is what I call is being arrogant or self-centered. It's important to understand that in human nature, it's natural to have your ego growing all the time when you progress in your career. You might have seen a lot of cases in which people with big titles are real jerks. Sometimes it's just a trait of character, but most of the time with more responsibility, more stress and pressure comes as well. To help itself, our brain develops this mechanism of self-importance to keep us sure that we are making the right decisions, to be more confident in our actions. But whatever the source is, some people just cannot hold it and become a real pain in the ass. The first layer of a problem is the discomfort such a person brings to everybody they work with. It adds additional energy-sucking elements into everybody's life. But that's just the tip of an iceberg. The bigger problem is on a team and stakeholder level. For one, an arrogant person can harm the team dynamics and project success. When a BA is overly focused on their achievements and status, it often leads to a lack of collaboration and a toxic work environment. It's even worse with stakeholders, causing trouble for the project's success. Toxic business analysts can disrupt the process by prioritizing their ego over team goals, resulting in poor communication, reduced morale, and ultimately project failure. The final red flag I want to discuss is disinterest in mentoring or leadership. Every organization that looks for a senior expects the one to contribute to educational activities, lead others, or even become a lead at some point, especially if you are one of the first or few business analysts in the organization. Your future manager would expect that from you or have you in mind, even if the job description doesn't state such an opportunity right at the moment. It's because a smart manager weighs not only current skills but also potential, which might be even more important. On a senior level, you don't have that many ways of learning while you perform on your project. You are limited by technology, domain, task, and business idea. From this point of view, not being interested in mentoring and leading is the way to throw away an opportunity to grow, and I'm not sure why anybody would love to do such a thing with themselves. Plus, even if you're not interested in being in charge in the long run, taking on mentorship roles or providing guidance to junior staff may become the stepping stone for other roles. It's because it shows your commitment to team, read organization, development. You may have noticed that I'm not giving any strategies here, not showing examples of questions checking those 3 red flags. It's because I don't want to be the devil's advocate in this case. All the red flags I mentioned are relevant for all BA levels, but at senior level they are most destructive if missed. I'm not blaming the one who watches this video having any of these flags, but if someone recognizes themselves, at least partially, this was for them. Not to offend absolutely, but pull that thread within if it exists, so that maybe that expert realizes their weaknesses, embrace it, and start making baby steps to becoming a better version of themselves. These were the common questions for the senior business analyst position and how to approach them during the interview as a candidate. If you are interested in senior position interviews, I'm sure I could tempt you to watch this video about interviews for BA leads and BA managers as pivoting options for your career, which might not be out yet when you watch this video. Also, subscribe to catch a series of planned videos about specific questions for BA interviews and how to answer them. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions related to the topic, be bold enough to drop me a comment under this video and I will try to answer to the best of my ability.